Today we're going to be ranking every single Whimsicott card. If you don't know, Whimsicott is the mascot of the channel, as well as my second favorite Pokemon. So I want to do a little bit of a lowdown tier list today, just talk about my favorite Whimsicott cards and where they rank among the other Whimsicott cards. Now truly there is no D or F tier really, it's just here for proxy, but we're not going to be using it today. If you do enjoy these tier list videos, do be sure to subscribe to the channel. I upload these every single Tuesday. If you'd like to do the tier list yourself, it'll be in the description down below. And I also upload every single Friday retro tabletop content, so stay tuned to the channel if you want to see more retro tabletop stuff. There are some playable Whimsicott throughout the history of the game, so maybe in a couple of years we'll cover the 2022 Whimsicott Vstar deck on the channel, or maybe sometime sooner than that cover the 2019 Whimsicott GX deck on the channel. So things to look forward to, maybe. So today we're just going to be ranking them how much I like them. That's how I do all my tier lists. I don't do competitive viability. If it's in terms of competitive viability, GX is in like C tier, V-Star is in like A tier, this one right here is in like B tier, and this one right here is in like C tier, and then everything else is completely unplayable. Sadly, Whimsicott, actually this would be like C tier as well. This also in play. Whimsicott is not the peak of playability in the trading card game. He's had a few like decent stints here and there, but not really been a showstopper. First off, we have the Emerging Powers Whimsicott, more specifically, one of the Emerging Powers Whimsicott. This was the card that I believe came in Collection Black in Japan. That makes sense because it's exclusive to Pokemon Black version. Came over in our Emerging Powers. This one has just an incredible artwork. It is, I think, like, it's really fighting for the spot, but I think it's my favorite Whimsicott artwork. I'm going to put it in S tier. It's just an incredible artwork on this card. Really cute artwork, I believe done by Sui. Then we have, I believe this one's done by Mizue. This Whimsicott came in Japan as a promo, decided to just come over here as a regular card in our Emerging Powers. It is a stamped promo in Japan that came in like toy boxes, which is kind of interesting. I do own it, which is nice. I just bought it because it was only like $5 for a cheap little Whimsicott collectible, so why not? This art is a little bit worse. It is a little bit more playable. Both of its attacks are actually relatively okay. The first attack locks your opponent out of using one of their moves, I believe. You get to choose one, they're forced to use it. And then U-turn doing 40 and switching is actually not as terrible as it may seem. Because of Gothitelle being around, and this wasn't really a thing at the time at all, but it is like a possibility. If you were to like try every combo in the format, you could make a Gothitelle Whimsicott deck where you hit and run into the Gothitelle and then go back into Whimsicott. It's probably just worse than like other options of hitting and running at the time, like Bisharp would come out a set later, and that could use Special Dark to boost its damage of its hit and run. So really, is it worth playing? No, but there is like something there. It can be protected on the bench with Vespiquen, which exists. So yeah, I'm getting a little too nerdy here for a card that's never saw play. This one's alright. Like the promo would probably go A tier, but as like it is, it's just kind of B tier. Not bad though. Then we have Whimsicott from Boundaries Crossed. This one is drawn by Kagemaru Himeno. It's hard to say that fast. And this one is another really unplayable one. Fluffy Tag is actually a cool attack. You reduce your opponent's damage and then switch, and then stun Spore 30, flip paralysis. Really not much on the second attack, but the Fluffy Tag attack is at least very unique. I do like the artwork better here. This is definitely a strong one from the artwork, so we're going to go A tier. Then we have Whimsicott from Ancient Origins. This one has the really nice artwork by Atsuko Nishida, and the actually pretty decent Windy Mischief attack. Did see a tiny bit of play back in the day. It moves all damage counters from one of your bench Pokemon to your opponent's active, so what you can do with this is, I played it in a Tauros GX deck, where Tauros has like 220 HP with a Fighting Fury belt, and he's just not getting knocked out in one hit. You either take advantage of that damage being on him to strike back with Tauros' attacks, or you move it off with Whimsicott onto one of your opponent's Pokemon, so, or onto their active Pokemon rather. So just kind of a neat deck for prize denial. The Whimsicott was giving up a prize itself, so not like the best ever really, but it was a deck that I did have fun playing. It also saw some play, I believe, in 2015 in like a Fairy Box deck, but really that's just, you know, that's not like I wouldn't say a reoccurring deck, but I do have plans to build it because of that. The artwork here is fantastic. The attack is really cool. I gotta give this one another S tier. It's the first Fairy Whimsicott, now I realized it. We would get a bunch of Fairy Whimsicotts until they took away the Fairy type, of course. Then we have Whimsicott from Fate's lied, I believe this is another Sui artwork, though I can't tell. I like the Sui artwork a little bit less, though. It's attack 40, and I believe you move an energy from Whimsicott to one of your bench. It's either that or you move an energy from the defending Pokemon. Either way, it's not good. The artwork's not bad, though, so I'm going to put it in A tier. It's just a little bit lacking. Then we have Whimsicott from Guardians Rising, illustrated by Koki Saito. This one has the Wages of Fluff attack, kind of a cool attack that if the defending Pokemon is knocked out during your opponent's next turn, you take 2 more prizes. I actually had a deck with this and expanded where I tried to lock the opponent active with this attack and then take all my prizes in a single turn with it. Was not very good because, believe it or not, your opponent could just switch out of it at any point, but I tried. I do really like the artwork in this one as well. Koki Saito, Whimsicott on the beach of Alola, which is pretty cool. I'm going to put this one in A tier as well. Then we have Whimsicott GX. We have all 3 of them. I'm going to talk about their playability all at once, obviously, because they are all the same card, and then I'll obviously rank them then based on which ones I like more out of those. So Whimsicott GX has the really cool, I believe, Fluffy Cotton ability, where you flip a coin when you're damaged. If heads, that damage is prevented. So these abilities pop up every now and then. We're getting a new Jumpluff soon with the ability we've seen in the past. Dragapult have that ability, and I believe there was earlier than that, but I can't think of it. Oh yeah, Greninja from Detective Pikachu had that ability. Yes, that was a card. And then it has actually 2 pretty decent attacks to go with it. 10 plus 30 for each energy attached to it seems weak, but you can actually build it up, and because your ability potentially can protect you from an attack if you flip heads, I never did, you can keep the energy on. So you can just put a bunch of energy on and then hit for like 210 damage or 240 with a modifier, you know, all kinds of things. And then its attack Toy Box GX allows you to search your deck for 5 cards. Actually really strong. GX attack, it came into a format with not a lot of hand disruption going around, so that was actually pretty strong. You could definitely use that in a pinch. We also saw the same attack, a GX attack on Metagross, Algorithm GX, search your deck for 5 cards, but that one's a stage 2, so a lot less usable in my opinion. Also printed it earlier on when there was a lot more hand disruption. Whimsicott GX though, pretty fun card. I did play it for a long time in casual decks. I played it on Expanded, TCGO, really just kind of a neat card. The regular one is definitely the worst artwork though, and that's a bit unfortunate. Regular one's going to go B tier, and I'm going to put the full art in A, and I'm going to put the full art, or the rainbow, in B. The rainbow is not terrible, but I don't like rainbow rares in general. Then we have Whimsicott from Unified Minds. This one has the really cool Prowl ability. Not really a Whimsicott sounding ability, but whatever. When you evolve into it, you can search your deck for any one card and put it into your hand. I actually saw a bit of play in a... actually see it played a bit of... a little bit of everything. There's a Zacian deck at the time that was playing it. Zacian V, because you can search your deck for any card, was pretty good. It's also played in GLC. The Fairy Control deck is the only way you can play Fairy nowadays. But it plays this Whimsicott because, you know, getting any card when your control deck is pretty good. Also has free retreat and just a 1 energy attack, so just kind of good in that way. But it's mainly just for getting a card. The free retreat's very nice though. And this one notably has incredible artwork. When I'm saying that there's 2 Whimsicotts fighting for the top spot of artwork, it's this one and the Emerging Powers one up here. This one's going in S tier. This is incredible Shibuzo artwork. I really like it. Then we have the Whimsicott from Cosmic Eclipse. I believe this was Mika. Mika is her the artist's name. There's something like Tatsui or something for the second part. I could be completely wrong on this. This one is a little bit of a mixed bag. It's got an attack that allows you to, I believe, put a card from hand in the Lost Zone and draw 3. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I remember. And then it's got the Lost March attack. Lost March was obviously a thing where you'd get all your Pokemon into the Lost Zone and hit for 20 times, and it would actually be a pretty good strategy if it was around today. Maybe not like as good as like the Sableye, you know, decks that we see, but they'd probably throw it in that deck, at least 1 or 2 copies of the basic Lost Marchers, just to take advantage of the Pokemon being gone in the late game. So could be something if it was printed nowadays. We did see some expanded decks try to do that. But this Whimsicott was never part of the equation because there's a Cottony that also has the Lost March attack, and that is just pretty much objectively better. The only reason you'd run Whimsicott is to get around basic walls like Pyroar, for instance, that block damage from basic Pokemon and expanded. So you would see a Whimsicott every now and then. The artwork on here is kind of mid. Probably my least favorite non-CG Whimsicott, I've got to say. So I'm going to put it in C tier. Like, I don't hate this card, it's not my favorite. I do like the reverse, though. I do own a reverse holo copy from Japanese Tag All-Stars, and I am proud of that. Then we have Whimsicott from Sword and Shield. Man, we were so spoiled for Whimsicotts for, like, a period, right? Like, if you take, like, the, Fates Collide, like, third to last set of XY, and then we get one in Guardians Rising, and then we get one in Unbroken Bonds, and we get one in Unified Minds set after, like, this period right here, right? Unbroken Bonds, set after Unified Minds, set after Cosmic Eclipse, and then set after that, Sword and Shield. That's, like, 4 sets in a row with Whimsicotts. That's pretty cool. This one has the first attack, you flip a coin of heads. I believe your opponent shuffles their active Pokemon card statue into the deck. Not good. These attacks are really flippy. And Leaf Scepter does 50, I believe, for a single energy. Actually, a relatively high amount of damage, honestly, for a single energy on like a not good attacker, but still not good. This art is really cute, though, and that's what I gotta defend about it. I really like the art. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Then we have the Whimsicott from Vivid Voltage. Only took 2 sets off before we got another Whimsicott in English. This one is by Naoya Kimura, the illustrator, and it has 2 really, really good attacks. This Whimsicott, I'd say, like, right up there with the Vstar for the height of playability. The triple draw attack draws 3 cards, very self-explanatory, and its Flying Fury attack, you do 10 plus 40 for each tool card you discard from your Pokemon in play, up to 250 in the standard format at the time, and up to 490 in the expanded format where you have access to Sigilif from Plasma Blast. Could actually, pair Whimsicott with Honchkrow nowadays if you feel like it, but it has rotated, obviously, now. The main problem with Whimsicott in a modern setting is that things turn off Honchkrow, whereas Sigilif was more impermeable, and the fact that it lost its best friend U-turn board in the rotation prior to Whimsicott rotating. So, yeah, sad its friend U-turn board was gone. I enjoyed that combo greatly. But Whimsicott had its time in the shine, a little bit of a tier 3 deck for a little bit of a while. In Expanded, this deck was an absolute blast. I've done videos on my lists for this deck, and I absolutely love this card S tier. Like, this is probably my favorite Whimsicott card, despite the fact that, like, these are better illustrations. This is my favorite one. It's a pretty good illustration, though. Then we have the Saki Hayashiro Whimsicott V. This artwork I actually like better than the full art here. Talking about playability, though, I believe the first attack does 20, and if your opponent's Pokemon is a basic Pokemon, they can't attack, I believe. And then its second attack does 90 and reduce damage up to it by 30. I believe that's Cotton Guard. The attacks are irrelevant. As for like the artwork on this card, it's actually not bad for a V. Saki Hayashiro Vs, even though they're CG, tend to be a little bit better than the rest. Spare Dragonite. Dragonite V is very ugly. The one from Evolving Skies. The one from Pokemon Go is very nice. But like most of their CG is at least a little bit better than like the 5 ban, and the OK CG works, and especially like the I'm forgetting their name, Eskio Shinobu Vs. So gonna put this in, we'll put it in B tier. I don't like the art better than this guy. Whimsicott Vstar, though, actually a playable card for a hot minute, and then we'll put the full art in C because I like the full art less. Whimsicott Vstar has 250 HP and has the Trick Wind attack, which does 160, and you block your opponent from playing any special energy and tool cards from their hand. And the Fluffball Star does 60 damage snipe for each energy on Whimsicott. My biggest complaints with this card, though, I like this card and I like that it's playable for once. First of all, the artwork's not good. It's a 5-ban artwork, unfortunately. Second of all, the Trick Wind attack is almost good. And there's a reason this card lost a lot of relevance very, very quickly, and that's because it doesn't lock stadiums in play. On attacks back in the day, we saw Giratina EX with Chaos Wheel. That attack locked stadium special energies and tool cards, and that card was good, despite the fact that it only did 100 damage for essentially 2 energy attachments, Double Dragon, but it really looks like 4, right? So, like, you need to lock stadiums. Stadiums is basically the second most important part of the clause in the Giratina. The tool cards are far less relevant. Tool cards are not making that much of a difference usually. The special energy is very good, obviously. Special energy is very strong. But stadium cards, you really need to be able to lock that in play. Because if this deck could lock Path to the Peak in play, it probably would have kept a lot of its relevance going forward. Because being able to lock a Path to the Peak in play, being able to maybe lock like a Collapsed Stadium in play in certain matchups, would really give the deck a huge advantage. And it just doesn't have that because of that. My second complaint with the card is that Fluffball Star, while not a bad V-Star power, is a very irrelevant V-Star power in that it doesn't really play into the deck's strategy. So it essentially is just a finishing attack. Because if you're using the attack without finishing the game, you're breaking your lock that you have to set, meaning your opponent will probably be able to beat your deck if you're breaking the lock. So this deck definitely had a lot of potential, but with it, really, Pokemon's been really like downturning the cards to make them a little bit worse in disruption department. So I'm gonna put that in A tier because I do like it, but I have a few complaints. And this is the only D tier because it's a rainbow rare of a not very good looking card in the first place. That was my Whimsicott tier. If I had to rank these, I think that these 4 are fine. This tier, I'd probably put this as the highest, this is the lowest, and probably yeah, this fits somewhere in between like this. Ranking this tier, I'd probably put the rainbow rare the highest, honestly, and then go like that. And yeah, that looks good. That is my Whimsicott tier list. This is official, factual, 100% real, because I am, of course, a Whimsicott fan, and anything I say goes in this regard. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. As always, stay tuned to the Whimsicast, and I will see you in the next one.